In 1932, the Australian government declared war. Not on a country, not on a terrorist group, on birds. And they lost. Imagine this. You survived World War I. You watched your friends die in the trenches. You came home with nothing. No land, no money, no future. The government promised you farms in Western Australia, a fresh start, a new life. You said yes, but what they didn't tell you was what was already living there. 20,000 emus, massive, 6 feet tall, fast, and completely fearless. They came every year, migrating in massive herds, destroying crops, crushing fences like they were made of paper. The farmers begged the government for help, and the government's answer? Send in the military. Major G.P.W. Meredith arrived with 2 soldiers, 2 Lewis guns, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. His mission sounded simple: eliminate the emus, protect the farms. What could go wrong? Everything. The first ambush was at a dam near Campion. The soldiers spotted a flock of over 500 emus. Meredith gave the order. The guns started firing. And then, something terrifying happened. The emus didn't panic. They didn't scatter like normal animals. They split up, perfectly, almost intelligently. Small groups broke off in every direction, impossible to track, impossible to target. The machine guns jammed, trying to follow them. And just like that, 500 emus disappeared into the bush, with barely a scratch. The soldiers stood there, in silence, staring at the empty field. Now here's what they don't put in history books. Ornithologists, bird scientists, studied the emu behavior during this war. And what they found was, emus have a 2-chambered heart, which means they can absorb an extraordinary amount of physical trauma and keep moving. One emu was shot over a dozen times and ran over half a mile before it finally stopped. Major Meredith himself said, and this is a real quote, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world." A decorated war veteran, comparing birds to soldiers. Let that sink in. Now here's where it gets darker. Most people think the Emu War lasted a few weeks and then it was over. That's what the official records say. But that's not the full story. The military withdrew in embarrassment after just 12 days. Headlines mocked them across the world. Politicians called it a national humiliation. The defense minister refused to ever discuss it publicly again. But quietly, secretly, the culling operations continued. For years. Between 1945 and 1960, over 280,000 emus were killed in Western Australia. No press coverage, no public announcement, no headlines. The war didn't end in 1932. They just stopped calling it a war. But here's the part of this story that breaks my heart. Those farmers, the veterans, they were still there, watching all of this, watching their crops fail, watching the government send soldiers, then pull them back, then deny everything. These were men who had already given everything to their country, who came back from war with trauma before anyone even had a word for it, who built fences with their bare hands, who planted seeds in dry, unforgiving soil. And the government they trusted couldn't even protect them from birds. Some of them lost everything: their farms, their savings, their hope. The emus moved on to the next field. The farmers had nowhere to go. Now, here's the part that will genuinely make you rethink this entire story. In 1948, 16 years after the war, a group of Australian scientists published a quiet, almost unknown report. It concluded that the emu migration patterns were not random. The emus were following ancient routes. Routes that existed for thousands of years. Long before any farm, any fence, any human settlement was ever built there. The emus weren't invading. They were going home. The farms had been built directly on their migration path. The fences that kept breaking, they were cutting through corridors the emus had used for generations. The military wasn't deployed to protect Australia. It was deployed to protect a mistake. And the government knew. So let me ask you something. Who was really the enemy in this story? The emus, who were just following instinct, following the path their ancestors walked for thousands of years? Or the decisions made by men in suits, far away from the dust and the gunfire and the broken fences? The Great Emu War is remembered as a joke, a funny little footnote in history. But underneath it, there's a story about veterans who were failed, about land that was taken, about nature that pushed back, and about a government that buried the truth rather than admit it was wrong. What do you think really happened here? Were the emus just surviving, or were they fighting back? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit different for you, if you learned something you genuinely didn't expect today, don't just scroll away. Somewhere out there, a 6-foot emu is still walking its ancient path, and it deserves to be remembered. Hit that like button for it. And if you want more buried stories like this, history's forgotten wars, covered up secrets, and the moments that changed everything without anyone noticing, subscribe. Because next week, we're going somewhere even darker. Stay curious, and never trust the official version of the story.